This is great. It's great. Uncharted. Huh? Yay! Needs to hurry up and load. You're not broadcasting. Where are we heading to?
Hey, just so you know, Nathan Drake is no longer in the picture. You don't have to worry about that. I had my concerns. Why do you accept my offer? I'm not one to look a gift horse in mouth, especially with everyone wanting to see me fall. I hear that. But on the plus side, oh, there's a plus side? Oh, people have low expectations. It's much easier to take them by surprise. As far as I'm concerned, this business is tough enough on your own. You have to take any advantage you can. You always worked alone? Mostly.
Not the best driver.
Young. Learned quickly enough I needed to let people think they were getting their way, and then I could get the upper hand. Too subtle for me. I always preferred the direct approach. Yeah, whatever works, I say.
Oh. Wait, no. Does that equal to death? Yes, it does. We're gonna reverse. We're not gonna be dumb, and we're gonna go the other way around. How about that? What is this? What is this?
Give me a second. I can wait.
What is this? No, no, no.
Time to go.
No.
I'll be right back. You got it.
Why can't she be normal and like climb? What? Ugh. Just get.
Let's go.
Oh my goodness. Go. There you go. Don't hurt me. How do I get in there? Dork. This is my first broadcast here. If you don't know me, hello, nice to meet you.
I think Assault's men had that side too.
Any guns that I want? No, those both suck. Let's continue. Oh, okay.
This should do the trick. Look up there. Parashurama's bow. Spotted this on the tower too. So Parashurama.
Shurama.
Who was he again? Okay, 6th avatar of the god Vishnu, a fearsome warrior. Still wrapping my head around it all.
Aim.
Let's get inside. Hard to say. A fortress? Not the right layout for a temple.
Okay, there you go. Let go, cause I feel like I gotta get it away with me.
Up. Go up.
Nice to see that shit finally.
I was starting to think the boss was all talk.
I'd watch you know. Son. Soon it will matter. Once we have the task of people will follow like shit.
Yeah, even the mighty Indian army will try to.
Can't wait.
He's dead.
That's it. We're clear. You boys really don't want me shooting from down here.
Man, try me. Come on. Come on, try me. Yeah. Try me. What's up? Come on, what's up? What's up? Try me. Come on, what's up? Oh, he really... Boy. Try me. Come on. Come out here again.
Actually impressed. Okay. We're all clear. Won't be
Ah.
last. That was a big truck parked up front.
Don't say actually impressed. Be impressed, cause man.
Walk right off the cliff. You do have a sense of humor.
Oh, wait a minute now. Okay.
Would have preferred a head start on yourself. Not much we can do. Besides, doesn't matter who starts, only who finishes. Fair point. Not from what I can tell. See that? Looks like another faucet. Let's find a way up. Follow me.
Is there another one of these? Oh, so do I just jump to my death? Okay, great. Go. Okay, bring out the gun.
All friends. They don't know we're here. Good. Amazing. All things considered.
Guy down over here. Safety's off. Start a search. Watch out! Another one down.
Nah, Gonna get a little closer. A little closer. Did I get him? Okay, good. I got him.
Another guy down here.
These men are stupid. If people are dying, then I don't know, go look for the person. Nah, bring it back. Bring it back.
You thought I guess your whipping back.
You got both of them back.
Oh, see, what are you talking about?
I'm running out of bullets.
Another man down. We cannot deal with that.
I feel like there's another person over there, but
Who was that jumped over there? Was that her?
no.
Who was that jumped over there?
It was somebody, it's one of my enemies. Okay, this is my cue to get closer, but I need to stay hidden. Nah, it looks like he got a helmet on. We ain't gonna risk it. So, y'all all staying over there. Come up more. How about that?
I have no number. I have nothing. Search. I will check here.
Okay.
Watch it. Another one down. We had better find him.
Helmets ain't gonna save you from the killer. You need to get closer to get that other one.
Shit! Another one down. Let us not tell Asav about this.
More of them? Bruh. I'm pretty sure I got every single one of them, bruh. They're taking forever to just come over to where I am at. Oh my goodness. What if I just... No. I need to stay hidden. What if I... Nah. Does he have a helmet? I can't see that far. They think I got some 40/40 vision or something. 20/20. My vision not that good. Retro. Well, he didn't notice that his friend just got gratated. Every time. Get down, child.
What the? Must be around.
Okay, come on.
Site secure. Well done. And you said I was like a bull in a china shop. I'm never said that. No, but you thought. Got me there. Let's press on. That's what I was going to say.
And I did it without being caught either. Dang. Man, but this dumb wall messed me up.
Oh, Christ. Rise up!
Oops. Magic trick gone wrong. Okay, the dumb wall. There you go. Get this wall out my way. All of a sudden I come over here, he's not dead.
Some kind of mechanism.
What type of gun does the dude have? Wait, where did the dude go? I shot him. He died. Where did he go? Are all the dead bodies gone? Well, they're not, cause he has a sucky gun. His gun can go die. Jinx again. Whoa, wait a minute. Oh. Thought that was a soldier. Heat.
Our spigot is right on the other side of this gate. We need to get this gate open. I'll head back to the crank.
I don't want to be the one to crank the crank. Look. Dad, you missed it. I killed every single soldier without being caught. Hmm? Always losing stuff.
Perfect. That should do it.
Gonna be extra, so this game won't let me have my fun.
Well, you made it across at least.
Dad, you're blocking the screen.
Oh, definitely. Figured you'd want to take the easy way over. Fine. Just don't get started without me.
Jaw.
There you are. Having fun? Just like the monkey bars in primary school. I'd say this looks safer than the playground at my school.
That worries me. But if I'm at an angle, if I fall, I'll land in my car. Yeah, my car. If I land in something, I'm fine.
I'm impressed. You're impressed. I'm tired. Let's get this done.
Right.
Right. I'm guessing it'll be a bow this time.
Good guess.
No. Ooh. was correct the first time, confusing me.
Oh, this one's a bit trickier. Look at that.
Right. Let's turn the water on.
Whoa, whoa. What's to say it's not different this time? What if it's fire or something?
You're messing with me.
I'm totally messing with you.
Here we go.
There shall be water.
I'm a little disappointed it wasn't fire.
Another waterfall.
Yeah. It's 2 out of 3 now.
Ross and I went to an absurd amount of trouble to hide the tusk.
Well, the tusk was the symbol of Hoysala dominance, representing their wealth and their might.
A nice trophy for the Persians.
Yeah. My dad always thought that the tusk was something even greater, though.
What? Your dad was after the tusk?
Oh, my dad was obsessed with it. He spent every day and night researching it. All our money wasted on fruitless expeditions.
Heard that one before. So what came of it?
I don't know. Well, he sent me and my mum away. He said it was no longer safe. And off to Australia we went. And now here I stand on the outskirts of Hullabaloo. That's pretty funny. Last stop. The fort embedded in that mountain. That'll be the one with the axe.
Is the water still flowing? Why is it still
Makes
flowing?
sense now. Yeah. Fraser's not exactly an Indian surname either.
It was my mum's.
Fraser is a name.
Let's find a way to get back down to the car.
Sounds good.
So we just gotta jump.
Ah, this is open now.
Where is she?
She gotta wait till I get off of this. She has to wait till I'm off of this.
Just wait to get off of that. Where is she at?
That is so nasty.
It's the one by the mountain left.
Makes more sense why Saul's after the tusk now. Figured he just wanted money, like us.
He'll use it to rally people to his cause.
Yes, I did know what to do, Dad. Thank you.
Like all the other times.
This has happened before?
Huh?
Oh yeah. Ever
A
since
piece
the
of
young
rock.
lost to the Persians, everyone's wanted to lay claim to it, to this land.
And here I thought we were just going on a treasure hunt.
We are? Let men like Assad fight over it. It's none of our concern.
Fighting wars was my concern for a time.
Good point.
Wait, shit, there's guys all over there.
Well, here goes nothing.
Where's tall grass when you need it? Oh, is this good? Oh, it is good.
Man down over here. Watch yourself. I want them found now.
I want them found now. It's not my fault that you don't know how to pay attention.
Another light down. They must be close.
Jinkies. Hmm?
Did you get them all?
Not yet. Trying to get a good angle at that dude. Does this zoom in? Does that zoom in? Dang it.
Look around, people.
Dang it. Did not mean to do that. Did not mean to do that. My bad.
In the clear. Let's have a look around.
Okay. I saw a box and I'm trying to see if it has all the things that I need. This what? What's up with all these trash guns? Like, how you want people to kill somebody if the guns are whack? The guns are out of date. Fix it. He was trying to blow me up. That's great. Let's play for. So yeah, if or when you buy this game, here's like a little hint. Those people with the missile launchers, yeah, no missile launcher, the people who have those, you want to kill them first, because if they're still alive and if they shoot at you with that, you're dead on sight, or you're gonna get highly injured. And you don't want that, so yeah. Anything that I want or need, treasure, I will be boot gaining that. Everybody has such trash guns, it's just like, no wonder why the girls are ruling the world at this point. Not world, I meant to say no wonder why all the dudes. Dang, did you? Dang, oops, my bad.
Another one.
Let's play for about
Someone went to a lot of trouble to hide this.
Hope that was productive.
Found another token.
Has it got anything to do with the tusk?
Don't think so.
Get down, child. Get down. Parkour.
All right. And we were talking about...
Oh, right. So you may have fought wars too, but you did it for the cash.
Usually.
What about when you worked for Assad?
Definitely a cash grab. Hardly worth the trouble.
Ouch. Why do that?
Needed to establish my rep, eh? Figured I'd start with the worst of the bunch.
Nowhere to go but up after that.
I'm going away from it, so let's turn this way.
Beautiful out here.
Is this your first visit to India?
Yeah.
Not a lot of perks in this line of work, but travel is definitely one of them.
Where have you been?
Where haven't I been?
Whichever question works for you.
Well, I haven't been to the States.
Really?
Yeah, well, the stuff I'm looking for is usually old, right? The US was only founded a couple of 100 years ago. True. What about you? Where do you want to go?
Iceland.
Nice choice. Beautiful there.
Well, it's quiet. Unspoiled. And I want to see those northern lights.
Okay. Yeah, that's on the bucket list too. You should go when we're done here.
Someday. Have other
One sec. Present. Seems to be a lot of these about.
Really building up my calluses this trip.
Good thing I packed my thinking cap.
Similar to that lock mechanism
I saw earlier. A bit more involved. Huh. This dial rotates separately.
This is hard. Talking about the game. This puzzle. I haven't done it in a long time. Oh, oops, I forgot to pause it. Huh? Not yet.
Come roll in on the fun.
Messed up. Well, let me keep it like this just in case. Give me this. Go over there. Give me this. Why haven't you unlocked yet? So, is it supposed to be like that?
As a wise old man once said, abracadabra. Cadabra. Another token for my collection.
We have figured it out, ladies and gentlemen. I repeat, we have figured it out. Now, purposely mess it up so nobody else can get it. Oh, you can't touch it. Great. Go up, child. Circle of life.
Found anything?
Found another token.
Back, bang it up.
Where were we? Anyway, like I was saying, someday. Have other things to attend to first. Shit, the site's compromised.
I like being extra. I need more bullets for my silent pistol, because if I don't get any more, then I can't use it, and I don't want to cause a whole scene. Of course, my... What's so special about a butterfly? Big. Get the hell living. Forget how I live. No. A little bit more. Okay, get out. Forget how I live. Bada bit.
Here we go.
Okay. I know how to drive.
Sure, in reverse.
Dad, can you watch the game for me? I'm gonna be right back.
Salah won.
Watch the game for me. I'm gonna be right back.
He was protecting his guru and killed the animal in one blow. It's where the name Hoi Salah comes from. Hoi meaning strike in their language.
I learned something new today.
There'll be a quiz later.
Bathroom.
And furthermore, why we didn't shoot back at the launch site immediately, we knew exactly where it was. And I think it's because we don't want to get involved. There may be some conflicts on the Gulf. I think there'll be some engagements with Republican guards in small boats or their cronies and their surrogates. But correct. I don't think we're going to do anything serious on the mainland of Iran.
Some facts and some sober analysis, as we've come to expect from Colonel Jack Jacobs. Always appreciate you making time for us, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. When we come back in just 30 seconds, the story I've been telling you about, why the feds say Roger Stone might have to go to jail before his trial, when we're back in 30. News in the Roger Stone criminal case. Federal prosecutors tonight say Stone has broken his gag order allegedly again. This famously bars him from talking or posting or communicating publicly about his case. And they say this wasn't like a one-time thing or a 2 or a 3. They list 8 examples, including an online post that they basically say his defense team, quote, exposed the intelligence community. The prosecutors are calling for a new hearing on whether Stone has broken basically the terms of his release, meaning what keeps him out of jail awaiting trial. Now, this judge, for whatever reason, has been somewhat hesitant to put Stone in jail the way many other defendants are treated around the country. In fact, even after he posted a picture of the judge herself next to what many interpreted as crosshairs, she provided him a second chance. All of this comes, of course, at an interesting time because the Trump Justice Department at a higher level, not these line prosecutors who are going after Stone tonight, but at a higher level, intervened unusually to try to keep Paul Manafort out of a prison in New York. If these were any other defendants, or if it were actually literally Manafort's case, we ask, would the treatment be equal, which is what is required under our system of justice? I popped that question to two very capable analysts, Watergate Special Prosecutor Nick Ackerman, who has been battling Roger Stone in and out of courtrooms for decades, and Rutgers professor Brittany Cooper. Good evening to both of you.
Good evening.
Do you think on the law, yes, Mr. Stone, A, has violated the order, and B, should be incarcerated prior to trial?
A, he has violated the order. There's no question he's violated it. I think this judge has given him enough rope so he can hang himself. And B, yes, I think he's going to go to jail. And he won't go to Rikers Island because he's going to be in a federal prison. But you now will have both Manafort and Stone in prison, who are two extremely significant people in this entire Russian investigation that know the scope of what went on. Manafort, who lied about what went on. And the question you've got to ask is, well, the 7.5 years that Manafort is now serving, on top of what will become state prosecutions, and Stone, who is also going to get hit pretty hard because these violations are pretty
So on page 1 of this new order, folks watching, there's so much going on, as I kind of emphasized in our show tonight. People may not have heard about this. There are other times where this would be the biggest story in the world. If the longest-serving Obama advisor was awaiting obstruction charges, this trial, and then violated their gag order, I mean, you can imagine. So, but it's the Trump era. But when it says on page 1, the Justice Department, that the court should consider, quote, modifying the conditions of release, does that mean in plain English, go to jail?
Yes. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go directly to jail.
And finally, before I turn to Brittany, you say, oh, he's going to jail this time. A lot of folks would look at this and say, well, didn't he do this before and he wasn't incarcerated?
Yeah, but he was given such a stern warning the last time. The judge put him on the witness stand. She basically read him the riot act. She redid the order. I mean, he is 2 strikes. He's now up to 3 strikes, and he's out.
What do you think when you look at a story like this?
I think that the brazenness with which Trump's comrades continue to flout the rule of law should alarm all Americans. And I think you're right. You're asking the right question, which is, would any other American defendant get this level of treatment? The challenge is that many Americans, and even our legal system, is not calibrated to see very prominent white men as being a fundamental threat to democracy, even though they keep violating standard and procedure and law over and over again.
Let's get into that, because Nick and I have spent time around these courtrooms, and judges especially, but a lot of people in this space think of themselves as very well versed on these issues. They've talked about the inequity. They've talked about bias. This judge, for a time, was kind of a folk hero of some on the left for cracking down on certain things, in contrast to a different judge who was lighter on Manafort. Sure. And yet you're saying something that often is revealed sometimes as, I want to call it, unaware bias.
Sure.
This judge doesn't think they're going soft on Roger Stone, and yet we have covered, and I've done the stats on this show, cases in other parts of the country, Chicago and elsewhere, where you don't get a stern second chance, as Ackerman quoted. You get no second chance.
Well, look, we can compare this. Think about Trump's rhetoric this week when he was asked about the Central Park 5, and he basically said that even though these men had been exonerated because of DNA, that he didn't believe them, that he thought that they should still be locked up. He didn't think that they deserved the settlement that they got from the city of New York, as contrasted to his friends, who all seem to be part of a growing and voluminous crime syndicate, but yet because of his power and influence, and also because of Judge Amy Berman Jackson's desire not to be seen as biased, that's part of the reason that she's going so soft on Stone. She's a woman, he has targeted her, and part of the way the Trump campaign wins the public is that they say that this is a whole sort of witch hunt against them, and so everyone is stepping really lightly. This is Mueller not wanting to say that the president president committed crimes. This is Jackson not wanting to be over eager and locking up Stone because everyone wants to give the appearance that they're being objective, but the end result is that these men, very prominent white men, continue to have a level of leeway within the legal system that any other defendant, particularly defendants of color, will never ever get.
Well, that certainly goes for Manafort. I mean, the idea that the Deputy Attorney General interceded to get him out of Rikers Island and put into Club Fed is absolutely outrageous. I have never heard of it. It is always the Bureau of Prisons that makes that decision. It's not the Deputy Attorney General. Somebody put the fix in for Manafort to be taken out of Rikers Island. And I think that Congress ought to be investigating exactly why that happened.
You think that's inappropriate?
I think it's totally out of the normal course. As an assistant U.S. attorney, when I had somebody put into jail, I would talk to the Bureau of Prisons. I might make a recommendation, but I would never direct that somebody go.
And I think, Brittany, you've given us a lot to think about, especially the point when a judge is literally targeted, says final chance, and then appears to do something that judges don't usually do, which is get afraid of executing their own power. This is the power the judge has, and so it's fascinating seeing, again, the Trump Justice Department. We said these stories are complex. It's not that the fix is in up and down the DOJ. Nick says that there may be problems in the Manafort case, and yet here it is, the line prosecutors, nonpartisan apparently, saying, nope, we mean it, and maybe Mr. Stone will have to await trial in jail like a lot of other people do because of poverty. Nick and Brittany, thanks for being part of this discussion. We wanted to give it some time.
Thank you.
Appreciate both of you. Still to come, the Trump Justice Department going to court to fight an order that it provides blankets, soap, and toothbrushes to migrant children. It's a story that we are all over because it is important. I'm going to show you why it matters and do some fact-checking when we come back.
The 2019 Infiniti QX50. Luxury should be lived in. Lease the all-new Infiniti QX50 for $379 a month.
Before discovering Nexium 24-Hour to treat her frequent heartburn, Marie could only imagine enjoying freshly squeezed orange juice. Now, no fruit is forbidden. Nexium 24-Hour stops acid before it starts for all-day, all-night protection. Can you imagine 24 hours without heartburn?
From executive producer Justin Timberlake.
One spin of the wheel can change your life.
Dan Shepard hosts. Spin the Wheel premieres tonight on Fox.
Yes, I'm doing it all. The water, the exercise, the fiber. Month after month, and I still have belly pain and recurring constipation. So I asked my doctor what else I could do, and I said yes to Linzess.
Linzess treats adults with IBS with constipation or chronic constipation. Linzess is not a laxative. It works differently. It helps relieve belly pain and lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements. Do not give Linzess to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
I'm still doing it all. The water, the exercise, the fiber, and I said yes to Linzess for help with belly pain and recurring constipation. Ask your doctor.
In a moment of crisis, you see the soul of a city. You see the true soul of a man. When times are tough, Houston pulls together. When times are toughest, Sylvester Turner stands up for what matters most, making the city safer, making the city work in every neighborhood, making sure that we're ready for whatever comes next. Sylvester Turner, tested in crisis, true to our values.
I was really excited to be a part of this project. What I want is for people to see the mural and then be able to envision something grander, something deeper. For the university to go out of the way to make such a bold statement themselves, how can you as a student not see that and not be inspired to say, okay, I accept your challenge and I'm going to do something even crazier with myself and my legacy and what all I can do in this city or beyond.
Donald Trump's in the middle of rolling out the launch of his re-election campaign, and it's more than that big Florida rally. There's been interviews on Fox, ABC, now Telemundo, an online push that hauled in a record-breaking 25 million, and courting the print media that Trump often attacks, like sitting for this new cover of Time magazine, where Trump proclaims his whole life as a vet, laying out a case for a second term, pointing to the economy, his base, and his political instincts. While a huge field of Democrats are running against Trump, pointing to his record-breaking lies in office, his stumbles on national security, and his policies on immigration and civil rights. Now, how is this whole race shaping up? We like to go to primary sources on this show, and now we turn to a top aide on Donald Trump's 2020 campaign, Strategic Communications Director Mark Lauder, a veteran of the Trump White House and the 2016 campaign. Thanks for coming on the beat.
Thank you for having me.
Is Donald Trump's core 2020 pitch any different from 2016?
I think absolutely. If you remember, anytime you're running for on the outside for an office, you're asking voters to put their faith in you that you're going to execute on the things that you said you were going to do. In this case, 2020 is going to be built much on promises made, promises kept, because the president has kept his promise to the American people to raise wages, bring manufacturing back, renegotiate bad trade deals, and also deal with the immigration crisis on our southern border.
Yes, you mentioned a lot of economics there. I'm curious what you think about a Fox News poll here where they asked basically white voters without a college education what they think of Trump's economic policies, and take a look. Basically, only 5% say they help people like me. Do you know why those folks don't trust Trump on economics, and is that something you're trying to change?
Well, I think oftentimes the economic data takes a while for the people across the country to actually feel the difference in their pocketbooks and in their confidence. But we have seen just from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we have record low unemployment for people without college degrees. These research shows that paychecks are going up faster for people at the lower end of the economic scale than they are going up for the people at the higher end. And so as that becomes more ingrained, people get more comfortable with it.
You're not fighting the data. You concede that that 5% number is really low for you.
I haven't seen the data. I haven't seen all the methodology behind it. I'm just saying that it's traditional that the polling on the economy trails the economic indicators.
Okay.
We saw that back
in the argument there. Let me play something from this launch. Donald Trump talking about one of those promises, draining the swamp. Take a look.
Many times I said we would drain the swamp, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. We're draining the swamp.
I'd like to get specific with you on how do you prove that, because we'll show here, when it comes to the Trump lobbyist connection, and this is well documented, a lot of lobbyists, 182 who have worked basically in the Trump administration and as lobbyists, or a wider thing, if you talk about the Washington swamp. Take a look at the overall spending. In 2016, it was $2 billion, roughly. It's jumped up in the Trump era to over $3 billion. So by that metric, it doesn't look like the swamp is very drained, right?
Well, and I would point to one of the first things the president did when he entered office was to issue an executive order that forbid people like me, who was a senior position in the White House, from leaving and going directly to become a lobbyist. So things like that to start that process. He's also cleaning out in terms of eliminating a lot of bureaucratic positions that don't always necessarily need to be filled. So we're reducing the size of the federal government, reducing the regulatory burden. It's a long process. The swamp has been ingrained for a very long time, and I think that's also one of the things that the president will fight to keep doing in a second term.
I mean, that's part of the question, right? Does he have to fight it because there is still a swamp and it's getting worse for the numbers I show, like more spending, or is he fixing it? Which is the answer right now?
Well, the lobbyist spending, that is something that goes on, obviously that's made by corporate decisions and who they're hiring as lobbyists. What we can do, though, is try to reduce the influence of people going immediately from the administration into lobbying, cashing in that way, and also just reducing bureaucratic tape, reducing the federal workforce, modernizing it, trying to eliminate agencies and things that are duplicative, and really trying to reform government in a longer sense. Again, it can't be done overnight. In many cases, we need help from Congress to help in some of those areas.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I put the numbers, that's why I'm pressing on the facts. 182 has nothing to do with Congress or corporate spending. It has to do with all of these lobbyists that are hired by Trump, that are around Trump. Going through a couple of these issues in the time we have, I also want to talk about the way that the president looks at immigration. He's talked a lot about it in the most stark terms, like an invasion. Take a look.
This is an invasion. When you see these caravans starting out with 20,000 people, that's an invasion. We're talking about an invasion of our country with all types of criminals and gangs.
People hate the word invasion, but that's what it is. It's an invasion of drugs and criminals and people. And in many cases, and in some cases, you have killers coming in.
This is, as you know, a big claim, sir. Do you happen to know where the U.S. falls in terms of the countries that have the most refugee population?
I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but I can tell you.
Let me ask you this way then. Would you say it's the U.S. is high? Like, are we top 5?
I wouldn't know overall, but I can tell you.
Would you say, and then I'll let you, I always let people go, so I'm going to let you have your turn, but just because there's so much talk, it makes it sound like it's so bad. Would you say we're top 10?
Again, I don't know the stats.
All right, let me put it up for the viewers, and then I'll give you your turn, just because the facts matter. You look at who has the most refugees. We're not top 5. We're not top 10. We're hundreds of thousands below 10th. And so I wonder at a certain point, do you think that Donald Trump has been hyping and exaggerating the immigration numbers to scare people rather than dealing in the facts? You seem to mention you admit you don't know that fact. I give you time to respond.
Well, I think the first off is let's talk about what we're actually talking about here, not refugees. We're talking about a flood of illegal immigrants coming into our country. Right now, we are on pace to have a larger population illegally enter our country than Atlanta and Miami, Florida combined. That is over 1 million people. It would be the 10th largest city in the country if it continues the way it was going. And just today, I saw a stat out that said in just 2 of the caravans, one of them late last year, one of them a short time later, there were 1,500 people that were taken into custody that had U.S. criminal backgrounds, including for sexual assault, murder, assault with deadly weapons.
I mentioned the refugee part because it's important. Crime is bad. I think everyone can agree on that. But if you want to go broader and talk about all migration, we could do that. We have the receipts here. I'll put up on the screen the overall migration. Now, there are undocumented people trying to come into the country. But when you say it's really bad, we can look over the decades. This is overall border crossings since 1980. You don't need to be a statistician to look at this on the screen and see that the current recent era, both under this administration and the most recent one, is far lower than of recent times in American history. Do you acknowledge that fact? And is it a problem that Donald Trump doesn't seem to get it?
Well, no, I think what you're doing is it's not the same situation now that it was in the 1980s.
No, sir, it's not. It's lower migration. It's much lower migration.
Well, let's have an intellectually honest conversation about this. Those numbers at that time were primarily, in most cases, 3/4 or more were single men from Mexico seeking to come here for economic reasons. The laws were written to address that fact. If someone comes across from Mexico, they can be immediately sent back across the border. What we have now is that 2/3 of the people who are coming across are not from Mexico. They're from Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, the Northern Triangle.
But far fewer people.
They're family units,
yes,
and our laws are not
that's a humanitarian crisis that a lot of people say has been compounded by family separations and other measures. But, sir, it's fewer people. I can put it back up on the screen. You said different population types, different family groupings. You do acknowledge it's fewer people, and the president seems to claim the opposite.
Well, no, I think he's talking about how our laws are not written and to deal with the current problem as it is. The overall numbers are one thing. The type of numbers are absolutely very important. Because right now, today, if someone comes across and counts in one of those numbers, They're from Mexico. We can send them right back. But we've got to talk about what the real problem is. There's something now going on called child recycling, where people are coming into this country with a child who's not their own, provided by a cartel, provided by drug runners, so they can fake family ties, get in here,
Mark,
and then they ship the kid back to do it all again.
You're bringing up something else. Do you really expect people to believe that the Trump 2020 campaign is concerned about the welfare of those children when the explicit policy was to separate them from their parents? In other words, yes, you said let's have a good faith discussion, but the whole issue is the Trump administration has explicitly advocated policies to separate, isolate, and punish the child population.
But that's now, come on now, Ari, you know better than that. That policy started under the Obama administration. We actually are under court orders that we cannot hold a child longer than just a few weeks. I think it's 28 days if I go off memory. And in many cases, the adults can be held longer where you can't separate them from the child.
I'm going to pick which things to focus on. If you want everyone, and I want people to hear from you directly and respectfully, if you want everyone to believe that the Jeff Sessions zero tolerance policy was something you were forced to do by your predecessor, you know, you're going to have to carry that water by yourself. I got to ask you about one more thing, and I don't mean to say the most obvious, kind of toughest question for last, sir, but Donald Trump assured everyone, including his base, that he says is going to be key. He promised them one thing about the wall. You know what it is. He promised them that somebody else would pay for it. Take a look.
Believe me, Mexico's paying for the wall, okay? That's it.
If I win, if I become president, Mexico will pay for the wall.
And by the way, Mexico will pay for the wall. They will pay for the wall. That I can tell you.
Mexico's going to pay for the wall. They don't know it yet. They don't know it yet.
They're starting to have a very good idea, but that's okay. And Mexico's going to pay for the wall, and they'll be happy to do it.
As president, Donald Trump has fought hard, shut down the government, and even used executive powers to seize funds to make Americans pay for the wall. Do you think that's sort of the toughest broken promise for the re-election campaign?
No, absolutely not, because right now Mexico is doing more to secure our border than the United States Congress, and led by Democrats in the House of Representatives. So
But
Mexico
they're not paying
is
for the
actually
wall.
starting. They are paying for it by sending 6,000 troops down to the border to protect their southern border, to stop the migration of people up north.
Them sending their military places is not them paying for the wall. I guess this is the question, and I'll leave you with a final word, because I always try to give my guests time, and when we're going over
I appreciate
on time.
that.
Donald Trump promised Americans, and particularly those MAGA supporters, you're not going to have to pay for the wall. He's making them pay for the wall. Is your closing argument on that, it's okay, it's a broken promise, he didn't fulfill everything, or is your closing argument on that a bold-faced lie claiming that Mexico's paying for the wall, which you know is false?
Well, what I can tell you is the wall's being built. 400 miles of it will be done by next year. And when you look at the amount of money that Mexico is paying to keep asylum seekers on their side of the border rather than the U.S. border, they're providing them education, they're providing health care, they're sending their troops down to their southern border, and they are patrolling their transit lines up to the north to try to stop these caravans. Mexico is paying a lot for our southern security, and that I would call it a virtual wall.
That's your closing argument. They're paying for a virtual wall.
I would say they're spending a lot of money to protect our southern border while Democrats continue to drop the ball and let Mexico do more than they're willing to do.
Well, look, as I mentioned to my viewers, we make time for people here. I granted you your time. I really appreciate coming on the beat. Mark Lauder from Trump 2020. I hope you come back.
Thank you, absolutely.
Thank you, and we have an important fact check. When we come back, stay with us.
This is the couple who wanted to get away, who used Expedia to book the vacation rental that led to the ride, which took them to the place where they discovered that sometimes a little downtime can lift you right up. Flights, hotels, cars, activities, vacation rentals, Expedia, everything you need to go.
Oh my, this Heinz mayonnaise is so creamy. One day you'll tell your grandkids about it. And they'll say, Grandpa, just tell us about Humpty Dumpty. And you'll say, he broke his pelvis or whatever. Now back to my creamy Heinz mayonnaise. Heinz mayonnaise, unforgettably creamy. Applebee's new loaded chicken fajitas, now only $10.99.
Humera patients,
You inspire us. The way you triumph over adversity and live your lives. That's why we redesigned Humira. We wanted to make the experience better for you. Now there's less pain immediately following injection. We've reduced the size of the needle and removed the citrate buffers. And it has the same effectiveness you know and trust. Humira citrate-free is here. A little change can make a big difference.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Ask your doctor about Humira citrate-free. Here's to you.
Where's Dave 87?
You should be mad that airports are complicated. Emotional support? But you're not, because you have E-Trade, whose tech isn't complicated. It helps you understand the risk and reward potential on an options trade. Don't get mad. Get E-Trade.
Whatever your dream, just keep chasing it. In the Honda CR-V. With available features like hands-free access power tailgate, turbocharged engine, and sharp, stylish interior. The Honda CR-V Touring. Hurry into your Honda dealer to find a great deal on a 2019 KBB.com Best Buy.
When cravings come on strong, be stronger. With new Nicorette coated ice milk, layered with flavor. It's the first and only coated nicotine lozenge for an amazing taste that outlasts your craving. New Nicorette ice milk.
Big dreams start with small steps. With dedication can get you there. So just start small.
No, you made it work.
Start saving. Easily set, track, and control your goals right from the Chase mobile app.
I can't wait for you to come home.
Chase, make more of what's yours. Most of us don't know how much data we use, but we all know we're paying too much for it. Enter Xfinity Mobile, America's best LTE, with the most Wi-Fi hotspots, combined for the first time. When you're near an Xfinity hotspot, you're connected to Wi-Fi, saving on data. When you're not, you pay for data 1 gig at a time. Use a little, pay a little. Use a lot, just switch to unlimited. Get $250 back when you buy a new Samsung Galaxy. Call
Thank God.
Fellas, you may not know it, but it's possible to injure yourself during intercourse, causing your erection to become curved over time. If you're curved, it could be an addressable medical condition called Peyronie's disease, or PD, that is experienced by thousands of other men.
I'm gonna have my
You're
stuff.
not alone.
I'm
Ask a
sitting
urologist,
right there at the door
a
like I've
specialist
been
for
waiting
men's
here
health
my entire
conditions
life.
like Peyronie's disease, about your curved erection. Find out more at learnaboutpd.com.
I've been missing you since you told me
Donald
you were
Trump's
leaving.
DOJ lawyers are claiming under oath that this administration has the authority to deny detained children soap, toothbrushes, blankets. Now, this case is only in court because the judge already ruled that when the government detains people, must provide sanitary conditions, including, allegedly, possibly soap. So these court hearings, now they're often dry, and summaries can be even drier. Consider where we're at as you hear this opening paragraph of a summary of Trump's case from Courthouse News
I
Service.
was using the restroom.
Quote, the Trump administration argued the government's not required to give soap or toothbrushes to children apprehended at the border and can have them sleep on concrete floors in frigid, overcrowded cells, despite a court settlement agreement that required detainees to be kept in safe and sanitary conditions. All three judges appeared incredulous during the hearing. Incredulous. Those frigid floors are documented, children huddling under foil for warmth. And those words are just the summary. Here's how the judges actually sounded in court.
So salty that you had to leave.
Are you really going to stand up and tell us that being able to sleep isn't a question of safe and sanitary conditions?
Cold all night long, lights on all night long, sleep on the concrete, and you get an aluminum foil blanket. Are you saying that that's okay?
And too crowded to lie down, which they also say.
I find that inconceivable that the government would say that that is safe and sanitary. It wasn't, high-class milled soap. It was soap, and that sounds so that's part of safe and sanitary. Are you disagreeing with that?
If you don't have a toothbrush, if you don't have soap, if you don't have a blanket, it's not safe and sanitary. Well, wouldn't everybody agree to that?
The judge is pressing these Trump officials on the legal obligation to provide those, quote, safe and sanitary conditions, which, of course, define the lives of over 1,000 unaccompanied migrant children in detention right now. We should note 6 have died in custody since the Trump policy began. The judges also pressed these Trump officials to commit to safe and sanitary with no loopholes.
And what's the dad's job?
If you don't have a blanket, it's not safe and sanitary. Well, wouldn't everybody agree to that?
I just sat there. He brought
Do you agree to that?
Well, I think there's fair reason to find that those things may be part of safe and sanitary.
I miss my old bed.
Wow. That's not your usual federal court hearing.
I miss
the DOJ doesn't send its lawyers to an appeals court unless they have a priority dispute. They are appealing a decision that they oppose. A decision requiring Trump officials honor safety requirements that they clearly don't want to meet for these children in their custody. Now, these judges are nonpartisan, and they're suggesting in court that history shows the Trump administration should and will lose this case.
The consideration might go back and consider whether you really want to continue this appeal. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot left of it. Considering that life is so moved on by it. It just feels like we're litigating ancient history at this point.
Introducing the first of its kind Lexus UX and UX Export. Also available in hybrid all-wheel drive.
Use the 2019 UX 200 for $329 a month for 36 months.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, every day can begin with flakes. It's a reminder of your struggles with psoriasis. But what if your psoriasis symptom didn't follow you around? That's why there's Lumia. With just 2 doses, a majority of people were clear or almost clear, and over time, even more people were clear or almost clear, all with dosing 4 times a year after 2 initial doses. Plus, Lumia was shown to have similar risks of infections compared to placebo.
Don't use if you're allergic to Lumia or any of its ingredients. Before starting treatment, your doctor should check for tuberculosis and infections. After checking, there is no need for routine lab monitoring unless your doctor advises it. Lumia may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Tell your doctor if you have
So, Mom, there's this funny video, and the first part is only funny to me. It's because of the way her voice sounds. She was like, some of y'all guys are being real mad at me, but this must be said. Some of y'all are fat, ugly, and other cancer. That's okay. Be who you are. She's being serious, but her voice is so funny. She's like, some of y'all might think that, well, my wig messed up. It's okay. I'll go get a $1,000 wig and put that stuff right back on.
Your information is more exposed
And she was like, some of y'all might say I'm not happy. Well, I'm fine. I have a boyfriend. He's a pro athlete in baseball.
More protection.
Baseball, you see.
That's why
you see what I'm going with?
are now one.
I'm talking about I'm happy y'all guys aren't. I'm that big
and LifeLock identity theft protection.
Be who you are. It's okay. And I was like, why does her voice sound like she's
Get all in-one protection for $9.99.
Before discovering Nexium 24-hour to treat his frequent heartburn, Stephen could only imagine enjoying a spicy taco. Now his world explodes with flavor. Nexium 24-hour stops acid before it starts for all-day, all-night protection. Can you imagine 24 hours without heartburn?
Meet your genes.
Listen up. Find a gene that impacts your muscle composition.
BT9 here. I can influence how much you move your arms and legs in your sleep. I'm a twitchy little gene.
Hi. We're to the genes that may impact the risk for celiac disease.
I'm linked to a Neanderthal trait.
Lactose intolerance.
Caffeine consumption.
Commit to a healthier you, inspired by your genes, with more than 125 genetic reports at 23andme.com.
When cravings come on strong, Be stronger. With new Nicorette coated ice milk, layered with flavor. It's the first and only coated nicotine lozenge for an amazing taste that outlasts your craving. New Nicorette ice mint.
My experience with USA has been excellent. They really appreciate the military family, and it really shows.
With all that USA offers, why go with anybody else? We know their rates are good. We know that they're always going to take care of us.
It was an instant savings, and I should have changed a long time ago.
It was funny because when we would call another insurance company, they would say, oh, we can't be USA.
Have you found any
We're the Weber family.
For the tennis?
We're the Hells, and we're USA members for life.
Get your USA auto insurance quote today.
Man, if they just took our insurance, we could have been had those things on.
They've introduced themselves to the country.
Oh, so Mom, I didn't know this, but when I asked Denise what happens after you get your business, she's like, oh, well, for a whole week you have to eat soup. I was like, oh, my.
And university tuition free.
Just like, she's like, straight soup.
I support
She was like, yeah, you have to, unless you want your teeth to be messed up, then don't eat anything that involves chewing that much. So I was like, oh, Lord.
The Pentagon is holding classified briefings on UFOs for interested members of Congress. Politico broke this story. The briefings came after these reported encounters by the Navy in the New York Times. We covered them on the beat as well. DoD also has released the 2015 video. Pilots were wondering what they were seeing. No one in DoD is saying, of course, that these are extraterrestrial, but they are saying that pilot safety is important, they're taking it seriously, and that they're briefing members of Congress. We have a new statement here I just got from Mark Warner. He says, I was curious about these press reports. Anything that involves pilot safety is important to me. So this is a very real thing happening on the Hill. So I wanted to get that UFO update in for you. That's the beat. Hardball starts now.
Hope says nope. That's my hardball. Good evening, I'm Chris Matthews in Washington with breaking news. The House Judiciary Committee has just released the official transcript from Hope Hicks' closed-door testimony yesterday. Here it is. A lot of paper. Not sure what's in there. The close campaign aide to President Trump appeared before the committee for over 7 hours yesterday, much of the time being blocked by White House lawyers from answering any questions. For example, Hicks wouldn't even say whether she had been truthful in her testimony to Robert Mueller. Also new tonight, we've got reporting that former Vice President Joe Biden phoned Cory Booker last night in an attempt to smooth things over in their conflict over Biden's comments about working with old-time segregationists. First up, tonight's breaking news on Hope Hicks from the House Judiciary Committee. According to that committee, 4 Trump administration lawyers were present during the hearing yesterday, and they intervened on 155 occasions to stop Hicks from answering questions. The word appearing most prominently and repeatedly in the transcript I have here from yesterday is objection, the word objection. Hicks could, however, speak about the campaign. Among other things, Hicks said she supported Trump's use of illegally hacked emails to attack Hillary Clinton in 2016, defending it as, quote, publicly available information to draw a contrast between the candidates. Those were her words. When asked whether she'd accept foreign dirt again today, she said she would not. She said she would report it to the FBI if I felt it was legitimate enough to have our law enforcement dedicate their time to it. Additionally, Hicks said she was very surprised to learn that there were over 100 contacts between the Trump campaign and people connected to the Russian government. But Hicks was repeatedly blocked from discussing the president's obstructive behavior, which was in the special counsel's report. She also did not address Michael Flynn's resignation, Jeff Sessions' recusal, James Comey's firing, or the president's attempt to remove Robert Mueller, the special counsel himself. I'm joined now by Cynthia Axney, former federal prosecutor, Mike Memoli, NBC News correspondent, David Jolly, former Republican congressman from Florida. Thank you all. Cynthia, I have to start with you. What is this thing, this word objection? This is loaded. All this wasted paper, a lot of this paper simply has the word objection on it.
Right, and another half of it has the word absolute immunity, which is not a thing. The White House is saying no senior official has to can be compelled to testify about what's happened in the White House. It is not a legal legally supportable argument. And the only time it's come up in court, it was shot down. What the good news about absolute immunity is because it's a constitutional question, it can be handled rather summarily by the courts. It can be done quickly. The bad news is that after it comes back, she'll just claim executive privilege. We're going nowhere with this. She's not going to give any more information.
Even if you had her under subpoena, even if you brought her in and she said, I'll answer your questions, and she says, I don't remember that, I don't remember that.
There's a lot of I don't recalls. It's Trump's spin. Did you know that this woman, they didn't even swear her in before she testified? This is ridiculous waste. I mean, look, you and I have all this paper.
Okay, in a real world where real people had honest conversations, which we're not in. What I always thought of her as a confidant of the press, somebody that he implicitly trusts not to rat him out. That he can say anything, you know, I can't stand that guy, or I'm BSing here, you know, I'm feeling bad. I mean, like he would share everything with her, right? Well, so she knows it all. About the Russians, about Roger, what's his name? All these people.
And one of the things, the Democrats wanted this to be the moment where they bring the Mueller report alive. Well, they didn't do it here, in one part because this is all happening behind closed doors, first of all. The other thing we learned...
Just to get safe.
Yeah.
She knows it all, right?
She does. And that's one thing that does come through very clearly in this report, is she was as close, if not the closest confidant in the entire operation. She said she was the only press staffer for a long time. She defends her invocation of white lies, which she told the House Intelligence Committee last year. She admits to the committee here that she was being asked to draft statements that she did not even bother to ask then candidate, now President Trump, whether they were true or not. She was doing so, including with Karen McDougal, the hush money payments. So Democrats wanted...
Just to make that point, I read the transcript. She said he had nothing to do with her. Did you ever ask her he had anything to do with her? No.
I have no recollection.
She just knew the right answer was, I don't have anything to do with this porn star. This model.
What's interesting, though, in the same token, is that Democrats also asked her about her relationship with the president now. She said she's only talked to him 5 to 10 times since she left the White House. The other part, which was interesting, they asked her, have you read the Mueller report? She says, no, I lived the Mueller report.
So she's laughing at this thing.
She is at times dismissive to the members of the committee as well. She accuses them of not using those words, but essentially, to borrow the president's phrase.
Dave Charlie, politically, forget the law, because obviously the president ignores the law. He has taught his people how to behave like him.
Yeah, sure.
Live in another world, laugh at the fact you can lie, laugh at the fact you can deny reality, because look, what did reality ever do for this president? Go ahead.
Which is why, politically, House Democrats need to make a decision. Do they go with the information they have or not? Because I think if they try to extrapolate more information, we're going to see a lot of episodes like this. Look, what she did is provide kind of a look in the mirror for Trump's personality and for everybody around him. What I found most ironic, most intriguing, Chris, is this. She acknowledged that she said, look, we didn't have advance notice of the WikiLeaks or Russia collusion, but we were ready. We had a messaging campaign when the WikiLeaks release dropped. We wanted to be ready to seize on that type of interference, if you will. And then she's asked, well, during the transition, did you speak with the president about how to message about Russian interference? And she said, oh yeah, we decided to blame the intel agencies because the president was concerned that if it looked like we were seizing on these moments, it would undermine the legitimacy of his election. This Hope Hicks, as much as she said objection or her lawyers wouldn't let her testify, the reality is we got a perfect glimpse into the soul of this administration, which is they took whatever help they could get, and then they're just going to ignore it and say, hey, nobody can touch us, though. Don't worry about it.
Now, you raised the question. They didn't even think to swear her in. I was noticing the courtesy, the extreme courtesy they showed her. Sheila Jackson Lee is a pretty tough Democrat, said, are the cameras bothering you? Well, let's get the cameras out when they're bothering you. I mean, it seemed like they were incredibly nice to her.
Well, I mean, they were nice to her. They let her testify privately.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they did that. I mean, especially if the goal is we're going to try to bring this to life. She's privately, she's not sworn. Half the lawyers in Washington, D.C. represented, they were all in the room.
Well, that's this is the dramatic point, Mike. With the Democrats who are pushing for some action, the ones that are still hopeful they can actually get 218 in the House for impeachment and a shot at conviction in the Senate, argue what's missing from Mueller's testimony is the live person doing it. But then, it sounds like if they're going to get McGahn there to ever testify, the president's lawyer who did hear the president say, fire Mueller, he knows what the obstruction sounded like and was.
that they'll do it in back rooms too, and we'll get a pile of paper the next day, and once again, lost drama.
They were deferential to Hope Hicks because they needed to get somebody in. They're 5 months now, almost in their 6th month in the majority, and they haven't really been able to get anything. There's a real pressure building on Chairman Nadler, on the Speaker, Pelosi, of course, as well. My understanding, my reporting is that they do still have some hope of bringing Mueller in. They're insisting on 1 public hour of testimony. They want the public to hear him in his own words. He's still resisting. They may move on to some of his deputies.
That's what they should do. They should get Weissman and Jenny Rhee and those people in it. There's whatever the reason why.
But if you have to subpoena, do you think they'll be dramatic? If you're forced to come in and be, do it.
These are trial lawyers. They know how to tell the story. Come on.
They don't want to tell it.
But you don't know that. You don't. I mean, I don't know.
Mueller doesn't want to come in.
Mueller doesn't want to come in, or whatever the reason is. I'm a huge Mueller fan. This Mueller. Just get somebody else. And there's other trial lawyers there who are perfectly capable of doing it, and let's get them in.
Okay, among the episodes that Hicks did not address in her testimony yesterday was the misleading statement used to cover up the Trump Tower meeting with Russians during the campaign, that infamous meeting on the plane. Hicks was aboard Air Force One with the president on that day that the news first broke in July of 2017 when he was president, and she helped him craft the cover story on behalf of his son. According to the Mueller report, Trump rejected an initial draft of the statement because he said it said too much about the offer of Russian dirt on Clinton. Instead, the president confessed this. He told Hicks to say only that Trump Jr., Donald Jr., took a brief meeting and it was about Russian adoption. Well, it wasn't about Russian adoption.
No, it wasn't about Russian adoption.
Valniskaya was coming in with dirt that she was offering the campaign on Hillary.
That's right. And the president had just met hours before with Putin, and I'm sure when the information finally comes out that Putin helped feed him that story, and that's what they did, and they've gotten away with it.
Well, Hicks was also asked if she thought Trump was joking in his ABC News interview when he said he'd accept dirt on a political opponent from a foreign power. Hicks said, "I don't think that was a joke based on what I saw." So what do you make of that, David? It sounds like, again, she gave us a whisper of truth there.
Sure.
It wasn't a joke.
No, it wasn't, and I think we should believe Donald Trump when he says he would accept interference. He did. The only reason he cleaned it up the next day was because of the fallout of it. I think, Chris, though, to some of your earlier questions, what we also see in Hope Hicks is that if House Democrats are hoping for a smoking gun by bringing anybody in to testify, they're not going to get it. These are going to be imperfect witnesses. Right? What she said about WikiLeaks, we didn't coordinate ahead of time, but we were ready to react. On Lewandowski, she was asked, were you concerned that Donald Trump asked Lewandowski to have Sessions unrecuse himself? She said, I wouldn't say concerned, but maybe it was odd. What the House Democrats will get from any witness is imperfect testimony. And so they actually have to be careful. If they think they're going to draw this out in the public eye, that strategy could very well backfire. I still would make the case, stay within the four corners of the Mueller report, go with what you have. If it means impeachment or censure, do it. If not, fine. But I'm not sure they get much traction by bringing more people like Hope Hicks forward.
And I thought she was very well prepared for this, Cynthia. You're used to clients being prepared. She seemed like she was going to defend Trump under the law as much as she got under this immunity BS they've got. But when it came to her own future, which is law, she's very young and she's a professional, she was very clear to say, I know they shouldn't have done it.
Right.
But in the hindsight that we have now, they shouldn't have taken money or support, information, basically wealth from a foreign power.
Right. She covered herself that way. She covered herself on some of the gray areas, saying, I just don't remember, I don't recall. It's like reading an old transcript of an Oliver North testimony.
And protecting yourself. Meanwhile, 2 Democratic members of the House have now joined the growing list of lawmakers calling for an impeachment inquiry. Today, Congresswoman Jane Schakowsky, she's from the Lakeshore Drive, of course, in Chicago, followed her Illinois colleague, Congressman Sean Casten, in urging the House of Representatives to begin hearings. In other words, they're part of that group. It's a total of 72 House members that pushed for public support for impeachment. However, their announcements came just as Speaker Nancy Pelosi takes an even stronger stand against impeachment. Yesterday, Pelosi said she feels no pressure to pursue it and won't do so unless she has the votes to convict Trump in the Senate. That means 2/3 of the Senate, or she's not going.
It can't be the Democrats impeach in the House, the Senate, in his view, exonerate, and the Republicans exonerate in the Senate. That president must be held accountable. So I feel no pressure from my members to do anything, and I have no pressure on them to do anything.
Well, Pelosi also ruled out a vote to censure the president, dismissing the possibility as an ineffective half measure.
If you could not convict in the Senate and you couldn't actually impeach, that the House could, for history's sake, pass a censure resolution that would force Republicans in the Senate to say something about the president's conduct. Is this something that you're considering?
No. I think censure is just a way out. If you're going to go, you got to go. In other words, if the goods are there, you must impeach.
Charlie, let's talk about this, because I thought you were under the truth, at least as I know the truth. You know, in a House when they need 218 for a passage in either party, and they know it's a tough vote, like it's a debt ceiling thing. Nobody wants to vote for a raise of the debt ceiling. So you hold a bunch of 20 or 30 people there, and you keep them held on the floor of the House on your side of the aisle, and you hold them there as you need them. And you only make the ones you need votes, so you don't waste it, you don't hurt anybody at home, you don't have to hurt them at home. It looks to me like Pelosi is doing something in football. I think we call it the prevent defense. We just let them a couple a day released from the corral. Okay, you can be for impeachment, Schakowsky. You're from a liberal district on the Lake Shore. I'm not going to hurt you with your well-educated peeps. But it's not going to make any difference because she can afford it, because it's June. It's going to be July in a couple of weeks. She's not going to do impeachment. She has decided that months ago, and yet she keeps talking about timing and all that. I thought today was the clearest statement she's made. We're not doing it ever.
Yeah, look, Chris, she's running out the clock. It's 6 weeks until August recess. They'll come back to a debt limit debate and keeping the government open. They'll be looking at the holidays. She's dragging her feet because she does want to run out the clock. The irony here is, you know, originally Nancy Pelosi has said, we're not going to move until the American people want us to, until we've convinced the American people there's sufficient evidence. But the reality is she has a lot of rank-and-file members where the American people are now saying to Nancy Pelosi, through their representatives, please move on this. I believe Nancy Pelosi when she says she feels no pressure from her rank-and-file members, because she's the speaker. She's the queen. They're not going to put pressure on her. I think the pressure will come from Democratic voters, but also, Chris, maybe as early as next week, 20 presidential candidates on national TV in prime time. How do they answer the impeachment question? And if the presidential candidates on the Democratic side of the aisle really start talking about impeachment, that's going to put the spotlight back on Speaker Pelosi.
Well, I'll make the gentleman's bet I make with you with every Democrat I have on the show. I'll bet you they don't do it. It's not going to happen. I think this is kicking the can down the road like they do on immigration, like they do on every issue. This Congress doesn't decide things. They kick it down the road. They don't do anything. They shouldn't be called lawmakers because they don't pass laws. They haven't passed a law since the Voting Rights Act in '65. They don't do stuff. Please all pay attention. They don't do it. Cynthia Axtee, thank you. Mike Memoli, it's all true. David, I hate to break your heart, but you're not there anymore anyway. Dave Hogg, thank you for joining. You're here. Coming up, smoothing things over, we've got new reporting tonight about a phone call between Joe Biden and Cory Booker about another Democrat and what they've been criticizing Biden over for his remarks about working too warmly, I guess the phrase is, with old-time Seggies. Plus, just days after President Trump blamed Iran for attacks on shipping tankers, a U.S. drone is shot down by Iranians. Can Trump de-escalate this situation, or has it pushed it to the point of no return? By the way, this drone, $100 million drone. It's really an airplane. Plus, a Democratic candidate's campaign launch is a viral sensation. Take a look at this.
I was sent to the front lines of Iraq to rebuild. I gotta tell you, it was a cluster. There was no reconstruction plan, no political foresight. Our government couldn't even pay the security detail protecting Americans.
Well, retired Colonel Kim Olsen, saw her there walking there, trying to flip a Texas congressional district to the Democrat side. She's going to join us live tonight. Much more ahead.
My bad. My bad. My bad. There was a little altercation. My bad. There's a little altercation.
You okay? Yep. Come on in. Water's fine. I mean, don't drink it.
Doing anything for clout. Doing anything for clout. Stay in your place. Whole lot of people need to hear this. There's a lot of names on my hit list.
They've left their climbing gear.
Correction.
Correction.
Climbing gear.
Oh, God, a bit hard on the wrist.
Practice makes perfect. Just limited bit. Yo, crib come foot of my crib. Pretty-ish. No guys ain't no more. Look at my face tonight. That's in the box. Oh, might look about it. Dive, my child.
I think I hear horses. Boys.
Dang it, I'm running out of bullets.
Watch out, another one down. You'd better find them.
What a big body built person. Gotta kill them people with them big things. Alright, so I am back. Hold on. Yeah.
Push it down. You gotta push it down. Anyway, right. You gotta push the wrong way. Hi, everybody.
Oh, wait. I'm kidding.
Okay, you gotta do that one again. Sorry.
Go away.
Hello, everybody.
Go away, Dad. Nadine, you're stupid. Why would you get up? Is there anybody else? Where's my other dog? Should have just like.
Area secure. Good work. Thanks for the assistance. Let's move on.
What assistance? She didn't do anything. She just sat there. Yes. My gun is now refilled. The good stuff. Nom 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 nom. Banana. Do 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 do. Banana. Do 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 do. How did that even happen? That's what you get, Nadine. That's what you get.
Oh my.
What
the hell is this? Okay, let's see what this does. Well, I'll be going to hell. That's elaborate. Oh shit. Statue moved again. That was close.
Oh!
All right. I think I did it. Come on over. Coming. Watch out for the axe. Did I get you? No. No? Oh, for goodness sake. Three statues with two different symbols now. A star. They're all Hoysala symbols, but I like those better. Near miss there. Too bad. I think I got it.
Ooh. That was scary.
You got it. Come on over. No, not behind you. Figured we had one more to go. How did you know that? Everything always comes in threes. Close shave.
Oh. Cause then. Fresh air. Do 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 I wanna see you do da do, baby, bye bye bye, bye bye bye, bye bye.
What the hell? That's not fair.
I don't wanna be your fool. I don't wanna be your fool in this game or two. So I'm leaving you behind. Bye bye bye.
Shit. See? I told you it was dangerous. You hurt.
Just my dignity.
Here we go.
Maybe water. Now that's 3.
You know,
You're pretty good at this whole treasure hunting thing.
I'm a quick study.
One question though. I reckon that you could pretty much do anything you want. Why are you so keen to get shot on?
Seriously? My partner tends my own against me. My lieutenant makes off with bounty. Nathan and Samuel Drake it off scot-free and ask me why I watch all of them.
Yeah.
It was on my watch. I lost it on my watch. Alright, what the hell's that thing you keep playing with?
It's my stress tool. It showed up in the mail a few weeks after we got to Australia. Alright, we better go and move on. We don't want Assad to get ahead of us. You know, I've had my fair share of screw-ups. You just get yourself up and move on.
I'll drive right.
No one does that.
Let's head back to the car.
Got a lot of shortcut.
Glad we don't have to go back the way we came.
Almost died.
You dodge the axes.
No, 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 no. Ah! Papa.
Hey, if you want to look anywhere else up there, now's the time to do it.
Right.
Bring you something back.
Dad, how do you stop a broadcast?
That's what?
How do you stop this?
How do I start the broadcast? Press share. Okay, hit it right there. No, go back, go back. Hit it right there.